Hi everybody, my name is Karen Fabian and I'm the founder of Bare Bones Yoga, and thank you so much for taking a second or two to watch this YouTube video. So I bet you're a yoga teacher, and I bet that you found this video because you were searching for something on YouTube about anatomy. So I've got you covered. What we're going to talk about today is a muscle of side bending, because let's face it, there are a lot of postures we do in yoga where we are bending to the side. So it only makes sense that it would be helpful for us as teachers to know the muscle that helps us do that. So if we're going to be side bending, we're going to be leveraging a muscle that connects the pelvis to this last rib and also runs along these lower vertebrae here. And that muscle is called the quadratus lumborum. It's otherwise called the QL for short. And because of its placement right here on the pelvis and the lower spine, it can help you tip to the side. Now, the other thing that it does though is because of its placement in part on the pelvis, it will help keep the pelvis level, especially in postures where we have students standing on one foot. Because let's face it, if someone stands on one foot in a posture like tree and the QL on one side or both is weak, they might tend to have their pelvis shift into that downward tip, or that lateral tip. So it's important that these muscles on both sides, because we've got one here and one here, are strong and healthy. So let's take a look at some poses where we are using the quadratus lumborum to help us side bend. So one that we probably, or you probably teach a lot, I know I do, is side angle lunge. And so once we go here into this side bend, on this side the QL is stretching, and on this side the QL is contracting to help us lean over to this right side. If I reverse the posture, you'll see the converse happens. Now I'm lengthening the QL here and I'm contracting the QL here. As I said earlier, if I have somebody do a balancing pose where I want them to keep their pelvis level, so let's say something like tree, or even something like grabbing the knee in front and taking it out to the side, I want the pelvis to stay centered and level. I don't want it to anteriorly tip, and I also don't want it to posteriorly tip. So in order to do that, I need to have the QL muscle on both sides, remember it's right here, be steady enough and strong enough to keep my pelvis from tipping laterally. So that is one of the muscles that students are going to be engaging when they come into tree pose. Now the challenge is it's kind of hard to cue them to contract it. What you can do is ask them to hug the sides of the body in. You can also ask them to draw the belly button in towards the spine. Even though that's not speaking directly to the QL, it's actually speaking more to the rectus abdominis that runs up the midline. It may help to create some steadiness as they stand on one leg. The other posture where the QL will come up is any pose again where we're leaning to the side. So it could be something like half moon. It could be something like triangle pose. So you can see there's a lot of places where you can speak to this muscle and help your students learn where it is and learn what it's helping them to do. I didn't even cover poses that we would do on the floor. Anything seated where you're side bending, Janu Shirshasana, variations of that would also be postures where we're using the QL on the side we're leaning towards and we're lengthening it on the side we're leaning away from. So, of course, this is only one muscle in the body, and there are about 600. You may be feeling overwhelmed as a yoga teacher, and I get it. I hear that a lot from teachers, that learning anatomy can be really overwhelming. So I'm going to make it easier for you by sharing a step-by-step process to learn anatomy. Now, I'll be honest with you, learning anatomy on your own after you've completed your 200-hour training, which is what so many teachers are out there trying to do, is really hard. It's a lot easier if you invest in a program that's going to walk you through a time-tested process. Now, I do have a program called the Blueprint Learning Program. What I'm going to do first, though, is I'm going to share with you just a free download that'll show you the different steps to learning anatomy. So I'm going to include it here on this video. Once you go through it, if you know for sure that you're interested in investing in a program and you're ready, all you need to do is sign up on the wait list. Otherwise, feel free to leave a comment here with any questions you have, and I'm happy to provide some feedback. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to click subscribe so you don't miss my next video. And by the way, I also have a podcast called Conversations for Yoga Teachers, where I go through quick anatomy lessons as well as have on really interesting guests. So feel free to take advantage of any of those resources, post a question, give this video a like, subscribe, got a couple of follow-up steps, and I'll talk to you on the next video. Namaste.